Margolis. I've lived at Federal Lane for 40 years. And just to refresh some memories, Madryn was one of those Bruce Lesher things. The first concept was to put about 300 condos on there, and he finally got it down to whatever they have now. So, and Washington Village, they're an acre minimum. It's not, they're not going to squash 300, they didn't squash 300 condos on that property. As a taxpayer and a citizen, I would hope the Planning Commission and the Council think about the taxpayers and the citizens of this community primarily. I'm not a visionary. I'm a realist like you, Jared. All I can see is 300 condos, school buses going in there starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, trash trucks, the FedEx guy, flower shop guy. There'd have to be another signal somewhere along the line after the signal after Starbucks for the entrance. There's no way you're going to have traffic. Try to go to Meglio's on a Friday night down Sycamore Street. Multiply that by whatever when you have people coming out of work, out of those office complexes and trying to get back into their homes on some evening or afternoon. I'm not against this, but I'm just a realist. One thing I don't want to do was wake up in 2015 or 2016, come to a council meeting and said my property taxes are going up because there's more police needed for that community, more trash pickup or whatever, more infrastructure needed to support, because you're going to increase the population by 50%. It's nice to be a visionary, but there's only, I don't know, 9 acres over on Stockburgers. That's not a lot of land. And regardless of how good a developer he is, just drive by the ICT building on the bypass and see how many people work there now. The answer is 0. So, you know, putting up office buildings or businesses doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be occupied and making money. And, you know, I think what you brought up, Julia, about whether they're going to be the 55-plus community condos or plain old community, you know, plain old condos. If you're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 people living in those condos with schools, again, you're going to have people going to school, people coming out from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock to go to work. I know I exercise over at St. Mary's, and there's a lot of traffic at 6 at the Starbucks. There's going to be a lot of accidents on State Street. I don't want to sound like a negative person, but all I can see is a lot of problems when you get that many houses in a short period of time on a postage stamp property, along with office space and that garage. Like I say, if that's going to be borough-owned, who's going to buy the salt to, you know, for snow removal? If it's going to be Mr. Smith, that's one thing. If it's going to be the borough, that's a whole different issue. You can't afford to put the playground equipment up. What's going to happen when you're going to need extra salt in a winter like we've had the last couple of years? So I think I might 5 minutes to run. Thank you.
I'm Kathy Fink, and I live at 241 Court Street. I'd like to show where I live in case some of you don't know. I live right there. I almost have a pointer. Right there. I moved there when I was in my 20s, and I'm now in my 60s. And when my daughter was little,
use the mic, please. Thank you.
When my daughter was little, I went past Mrs. Bean's house, the button lady, which is now Mrs. Cedia's house. And if any of you remember what it looked like then, it was rotting from the ground up. And I said to my mother, who was walking with me as I had my daughter in the stroller, "That's Larry," my husband, who'll probably be getting up, who's an architect. "That's Larry's favorite house." And my mother said, "You can leave him if he ever makes you live there." I would just like to say, this is so bold, so brave, and it takes a lot of courage. I'm shaking inside. This is overwhelmingly exciting. I grew up around San Antonio in the 50s, before there was a river walk. And I went to school there when it was in its transition. It took a long time for that to come to be what any of you might go to see there. The difference here is it's comprehensive. There's a vision. There's a talented group of people and individuals here that could do this for us. I think that we all have to look at the acme, multiply that, multiply it, and think, do you want to look at that 20 years from now? I'm not saying maybe all of this is perfect. Some of it has really raised hair on the back of my neck to think all of those people. If you see where I live, you can see that my house is right there. I'm often almost getting killed as I garden there. And we also take care of Chuck's at the Flatiron. And we get, screamed at from the street because I go out there and tell them to slow down. There will be traffic. When you have 9 acres, there will be traffic. There will be no way to prevent traffic from whatever goes there. If we end up with a strip mall with Blockbusters and dollar stores, I say we all should work with these people and be so thankful that we have this opportunity. Thank you.
Matthew Kyle. I live on Lincoln Avenue. I can walk here. I won't point it out on the map because I'm not that tall, but you get the idea. Yeah, I look around and it's no surprise. I'm one of the youngest people here. We moved here in 1999, and I was going into the 4th grade. I'll let you all do the math. Basically, Councilman O'Malley, correctly, right? He gave you this notion of, when you think of Newtown, what do you think? And, shame on my generation for not being...
Can you turn, because the TV's just going to see the back of your head.
Okay.
If you can kind of angle towards council, then
my good side? Okay. Basically, I just want to bring to everyone's attention that, my generation, as I said before, I'm trying to represent them right now. And if you ask any of them, and I encourage you to have the same conversation with your children, and my brother, who's slightly older than me, would also tell you the same thing. But my notion of Newtown is something completely different. When you say, Matthew, what do you think of Newtown? I think of, Applebee's. I think of now recently the Starbucks. Those places where I can just go and there's just stuff to do and just to walk around and enjoy. I don't think of the borough. I'm not even familiar with all the names. I walk my dogs back there all the time, but I don't think of that. And I think it's just important to realize that there is a generational gap here that's not being addressed. That our perception of Newtown is completely different. And I think if you ask anyone who is I can't say anyone. If you ask almost anyone in my position, my age, just getting out of college, trying to find a job, looking for places to go, hey, where am I going to be living? And you showed them this plan, they would all be in support of it because it's what I'm looking for. This is going to keep me in Newtown. And I not only do I support the development of those 9 acres, I support this development. I'm sure there's lots of, it's a huge project. It's very easy. I think everyone will agree to, pick things out and try and break it down because, I don't understand this. But, for those of us that have lived here much longer than I've been alive, it's a scary notion. But I would just like everyone to know that my generation, myself, people that are in the Council Rock School District, in the middle school, the high school, this town is going to be ours soon, and I would be indebted to you if we could have your support on this because we're on our way in. So not that. So. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
That was my brave son. When I first found out about this,
Could you state your
my
name,
name is Nancy Gracia, and I live on Sycamore Street. I was actually there at the meeting 2 years ago, and I had the pleasure of meeting Alan Smith for the first time. I don't think any of us in this room can say that they will be looking at the parking garage 100% of the time. I will be looking at that parking garage. I have about 100 feet on Sycamore Street. My back area faces that parking garage. And if you hand me a 200-foot hose to water the green wall, I will do so gladly. This is an asset to Newtown. There is a vision here. What Alan Smith is giving us is a sense of place. No stone is left unturned with these talented people being brought into Newtown. We should be grateful. We should embrace it. We should support it. There are changes. Design is a ever-evolving, changing process. I study interior architecture in Newtown, in New York, and I appreciate everything that's gone into this project. I support it, and I hope it moves forward. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joseph White. I live over on 143 North State Street, and I'm a relatively new resident to the borough. I've lived here for a little over a year, and I got to say that I really love the borough for the architecture, for the small town feel, the walkability of it. I think it's a great place. I love to look around and see all the great old houses, and I got one, and I'm working on it all the time. So I just wanted to just give that little bit of perspective there. I think this project, to me, I did get some sort of visceral feelings when I saw some of the things on paper. A couple of things that really kind of just sort of stuck in my craw a little bit were the words parking garage and condominium. For some reason, that really upset me, and I'm having a little bit of trouble kind of getting beyond that. I don't know if there's anything that could be said to kind of convince me that a parking garage belongs anywhere near Newtown Borough. I don't know. A couple other things I just wanted to say. Let's see. As far as retail space, I think we have a lot of retail in the borough. I don't know that we need any more. Other things, I just want to say that I love Liberty Street, and I'm a fan of Liberty Street, and I just basically want to keep the borough as it is. I know that might be
things in that space. I can understand the mixed use. I sympathize with the business owners, the parking situation, but I don't see how that parking garage will help anyone in the existing business district, to tell you the truth. So Newtown is something very unique. People come here for a reason. I think all that's going to go away. The uniqueness will be pretty much destroyed. Quite frankly, I wouldn't mind smelling a little manure once in a while. Thank you.
My name is Chuck Michon. I'm a neighbor of Joe's. He's doing a great job on his house. I live on State Street as well. And Mr. Smith and his team, he's got an A team, and I like that they're doing this. Although I hear some thoughts here, and we all want to support the merchants, and we shop on State Street. But that, I got to be honest, that density is a little much for me on the residents. I think we have a little bit of a moving target here. I know we're in the planning stages, but we kind of flipped from where we were. I went to the first meeting 2 years ago when I thought it was a great idea. I just think 300 condominiums in that small space will really change the dynamic of Newtown. And I know we want to support the merchants, but I think if we get that level of density, some of your existing, we have people coming in, I think a good amount of people would move out. Again, I think we can all agree that this site has to be developed. I don't think we should create straw men and say, well, if we don't have this, we're looking at asphalt forever. I don't think it's a good way to approach it. I think a good way to approach it is we had a great team here. It's the A-League. I think they'll do the right thing. I think we have to express concern over that density of population, which I think, from one of the things I read, will increase the borough population by a third overnight in a short area. I just don't think that density will work. Thank you.